Good morning.
Good morning, my friends. Today is indeed a good day. I can love you and be your friend, even if we think differently, believe differently, act differently, look different, or come from different places in life. You are welcome here. With that in mind, let's get our day started together. Let's slow down together each morning to contemplate valuable precepts and how we might apply these in our thoughts, words, and actions today, and how they might grow into practices, habits, and even ways of life, so that our life's example is rooted firmly in core values that are a benefit to ourselves and to all around us. Good morning. It is a marvelous Monday, and we are getting our week started considering generosity. As always, the meaning of the word and establishing some common ground on what we mean by the word is important. So let's slow down a little and let's look at generosity. There's a lot of things that might pop into our heads when we hear that word, but let's dive a little deeper. So, generosity, it isn't just for the wealthy and the financially stable. In fact, if someone is just giving out of their excess or leftover or donating what they don't want anymore, or they're doing something out of pity, out of obligation, to sort of drive an agenda or to get recognition, that probably isn't generosity at all. That is probably something else. So I think it helps for us to understand what generosity truly looks like. Now, generosity, a lot of times we immediately think of a certain thing. A lot of folks may think that generosity is just in related to money or things. But we can be generous with all kinds of things that aren't things at all. What about our thoughts? What if we're generous with our thoughts about other people and we give them the benefit of the doubt instead of judging them? That's a different perspective on generosity, I think. How about our words? We can be generous with our words. Instead of cutting people down or gossiping, we can give constructive criticism, or we can even hold our tongues. Now, how about generosity with our money? What if we're joyful and we intentionally sacrifice from our budget to benefit those that are in need? And there's a period there, not for another agenda, not to look or get honor or receive recognition, but to joyfully and intentionally sacrifice for that purpose. That's generosity. What about our time? What if we participate in a cause that helps others in needs and benefits the community? Again, not to be seen, I'm not saying that you must hide, but I'm saying if that is your purpose behind your, quote, generosity, it may not be generosity at all. It may be a manipulation to stroke your ego or pad your honor in the eyes of other people. That may not be generosity. How about our things? How many times do we invite people to sit at our own table? Literally. I'm not talking figuratively here. How many times do we invite people into our homes and we share our food and our clothing and our furniture and books and school supplies and all kinds of things that benefit others? And not just to gather it up for some special thing that a school or a church or a business is putting on as an event to show how much you're willing to give compared to your coworkers or the people around you. What if your generosity is just a way of life daily? What about our influence? What if we are generous with our influence? We all have contacts and relationships. What if we can use those to help someone who's in need of a job or help or in supporting their families? What if we're generous with our influence? And what about our own attention? We all have things that we know how to do. We all have things that we could mentor others in. We can encourage and support others around us. What if we're generous with our attention? I like considering some inspiring examples that I've heard stories about. I've heard stories of people buying a stranger's wedding dress, going to a wedding dress store, and just asking them, I'd like to pay for someone's wedding dress. And doing it and not leaving a card with your name, not making a big show of who you are, but doing it for in that special moment for a bride and a young couple that you know are digging into their budgets to pay for this this celebration, this process of going through getting married, and to surprise someone with a free dress that may have been an excitement, but also the cost bears a burden, right? Imagine lifting that for someone in that moment, and how many stories and how many memories they may have of going to get their wedding dress, and they're excited, and the icing on the cake is someone paid for that for them. They may think that it's someone in their family, but just the wonder of it being taken care of. And they ask the people they think may have done it, and they say, no, I didn't. That's a beautiful, inspiring type of generosity. How about helping a homeless person? Being a good Samaritan, right? Being a good neighbor. Seeing someone in need that isn't going to be able to pay you back, right? We hear stories about people paying for the people behind them in a drive-through line or things like that, where you can just say, you know what, I'm going to pay for mine, but let me pay for the person behind me. You know? It's amazing when a chain of those events starts and you see people being generous to each other. And you never know when that person really needs that at that moment. What about giving away valuable jewelry? There's a lot of money tied up in little rocks on little bands that don't even get used. They're sitting boxed up, and at the end of your life, they'll get passed on to your children or whoever who may not even wear them themselves, right? But you never know when someone may be able to appreciate that, wear it, or turn it into money that they need. I think that's an amazing, wonderful thing that I don't always think about. How about just leaving a huge or a large restaurant tip? A lot of people who are working in the service industry are, especially right now with inflation where it is, they're struggling. Honestly, a lot of us are struggling just in general. But we can be generous. It doesn't have to be about, oh, they met our expectations or not, or, oh, they served me and did a great job serving me. What about just being generous, just supporting them? and encouraging them and helping them out. What about buying someone's groceries? This is a wonderful one. Groceries are a necessity. They're some things we have to feed and support our families every single week. Imagine the surprise if I'm going to try and pull at the heartstrings here. Single mom, she's struggling. I know of a person in my life right now who she has a special needs child. She's a single mom. She's constantly struggling to keep her head above water and support her family, and she feels guilty at times because she feels like she should be able to do more to support her family, but she struggles. She tries to find work that can fit her, what she's able to do and still take care of her child, and then sometimes they don't have hours for her. You never know the struggles someone behind you at the grocery store is going through. You never do. Imagine that it's laid on your heart in that moment to say, you know what, I want to pay for my groceries, but I want to pay for this lady behind me's groceries as well. And yes, I know that the initial reaction, they're going to be, oh no, I don't need that. You don't have to do that for me. And you say, you know what, please let me do this for you. And you just take the opportunity to do this for someone else when it's the right time for you to do that. Imagine that. And that opens the door so that it isn't a thing that they have to be ashamed that someone took care of them. No, it opens the door for them to be generous, right? So it doesn't have to be from an angle of pity or of making yourself more able to help someone than someone else. No, it can be an opportunity to start a new chain of generosity. Serve in a charitable need in the community. There's always needs in the community. And this is the beautiful one. Doing something anonymously for someone else. There's something about doing things anonymously that takes the ego inflation out of it, or at least the ego stroking, right? Or the trying to get recognition part. There's something beautiful about doing things anonymously. Generosity isn't just the action. It is the heart and the motivation underneath that's driving the action. Without action, it's just good intentions. It doesn't do any real benefit, right? If I just think in my mind, oh, it'd be nice to do these things, but I do none of them, then that's not generosity. That's mental gymnastics. And it's not just the action, because if I do the action, if I serve in the soup kitchen, but all I do is look down at those filthy people and I'm thankful that I'm not there, that's not necessarily generosity either. You might just be doing that to feel better about yourself. There is a heart and a motivation to true generosity. And that's where we're seeking to get to. This type of generosity is the seed that we want, the precept that we want our hearts to be prepared and able to receive. And we want to encourage that and see it grow in our lives. Imagine a world that radiated this type of generosity in all of a community. Even, let's say, even half of a community. If people lived generously, imagine how inspired those who are not yet generous might be to say, man, that's valuable. I want that treasure. So that is why I study these things. Man, I don't always have the opportunity or the ability or the mindset to use generosity or to leverage generosity in every moment. Sometimes I want to be generous and I don't have the ability, right? Sometimes I can see the need and I might not have the money in my pocket. But you know what? There's always an opportunity to be there in the moment. You may not in that moment that you think someone needs generosity in the way of money, but they may actually need generosity in the way of attention, and we can give that. So let's not box up generosity into just looking one way. And that is my word for myself this morning, to keep that mindful. I love you, my friends. It's always wonderful to get together and slow down and consider these things. I hope that they take root in our lives. I hope that we will treasure them and just take one little step closer. I need to take one tiny little step closer to generosity in my life. I need to value it, see the value of it, and appreciate it so that I'm a little bit closer right now. One little step. And then rinse and repeat, right? That's what these precepts are about. One little step, one little choice. Those one little choices becoming habits in our life. And before we know it, they've become things that are a part of our life daily. And we're walking in a different direction, right? Our life example is proving something different. I have areas that I need to take that one little step. This is one of them. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity today. You have a wonderful day. And if you ever want to go deeper on any of these things, reach out to me. I love discussing them, prodding each other, revealing new, inspiring ways to live out these precepts and to treasure them and grab hold of them. And you're always welcome to join me and for us to discuss things. Take care. Have a great day.